Hi, welcome to another episode of How to Do Atkins Low Carb. My name is, of course, Kent Altena, and today's episode is maintenance, or aka how to prove everyone wrong. Everyone knows that if you do low carb, or the Atkins diet in particular, that you will lose all the weight that you indeed wanted, but you'll gain all the weight back. What? The point of this video is to prove that you, one, can lose all the weight, and two, keep the weight off for good. And by doing so, prove everyone else wrong. To prove that the same way of living or eating that got you to goal will also keep you there. Though before I start into this, if I happen to grimace during the video, it's because I sprained my ankle, proving myself how clumsy I am again playing basketball today. And once again, alright, let's go back a little bit. Let's understand how we got to maintenance in the first place. The first phase, of course, of the Atkins diet of the 4 phases is induction. And induction is all about getting your eating under control, regulating your blood sugars, and setting the stage for future losses in the future by having a very restricted, very easy to take diet. The second phase, of course, is the ongoing weight loss phase. Typically, this is where you should be losing most of the weight as you gradually add new foods back into the diet, continue with the weight loss, and add 5 carbs per day until you find your CCLL, which is your critical carb level for losing. The third one, which is the pre-maintenance phase, is the one where you're intended to lose the last 5 to 10 pounds. You have included all the foods back into your diet, you've adjusted to them, and the important thing to do in this phase is to find your ACE, which is called the Atkins carbohydrate equilibrium, which is the number in which you will neither lose nor gain. You'll simply maintain your weight if you eat this amount of carbs per day. How that differs from the CCLL is where the CCLL still focuses on losing. The ACE, the equilibrium, is focusing on maintaining a steady weight. And as you go through the pre-maintenance, the purpose is to lose that last little weight very, very slowly so that you can gradually bump it up by 10 carbs per week until you find what your ACE level is. Now that brings you to the maintenance phase. And this maintenance phase is what is basically the rest of your life. You're eating what you ate during the pre-maintenance phase. You're eating basically up to your ACE level each and every day. The focus here is on variety. Keep yourself interested with the food intake and not trying to restrict your food intake to like an induction level. Generally, this is just an extension of the pre-maintenance foods, like I said. So whatever foods you're eating in pre-maintenance, these are the foods you should be eating now. On this phase, you may be eating up to as high as 100 to 120 grams of carb per day. Some of the people that I looked up to while I was losing on this phase were even eating things like Hershey candy bars. So you got to understand, this is the phase in which you determine how you want to live the rest of your life. And the purpose is to eat in such a way that you'll stay at your goal weight or within 5 pounds of your goal weight. It's all about learning how to live within your means and deal with it the rest of your life. I like to compare this phase to the guy who just was in a deep debt, purchased his way out or repaid his way out, and now he's sitting there with no debts in hand and wondering what to do with his money. This very similar to this guy, to this Atkins on maintenance, is he's lost all the weight, he got out of debt, and now he's trying to figure out how to live without a tangible goal in mind. Sure, sometimes you may overspend or overeat on a particular meal and suffer from impulse buys, but in the long run, you know how to maintain your goal weight, as well as what the secret is to return to that goal weight. Well, that may bring up a question. Once you know what your ACE level will stay there for the rest of your life, and the answer is no. As you age or you do different exercises, that ACE level may indeed change or may indeed decrease or increase over time as your level of activity changes. Other things that might affect the ACE level, according to the Atkins.com website, would be particular drug regimens, or the onset of menopause in women may also impact the ACE level. Well, that leads me into, how do you stay motivated at goal? Obviously, you no longer have the weight tangible goal to shoot for, other than maintaining within that same 5-pound range of goal. Just like the bankrupt person example that I spoke of earlier, I recommend setting a new tangible goal to shoot for. Where for the financially strapped person, it might have been saving for a new car or a kid's college education. For the Atkins goal in particular, it might be exercise related, for instance. For me, it was, I started training for that half marathon that I wanted to run. And then it became a full marathon. And then it became, well, now that I ran both of them, I want to run them faster. For other people, it might be something different. It may be experimenting with new foods to cook. Maybe you've always wanted to try Indian food, or maybe you've wanted to learn how to cook more Chinese food, low carb. Well, it's the addition of those foods back into your diet to relearn how to cook those may be the tangible goal that you want to shoot for. Once the weight issue is resolved, you need to find out how you want to devote your time and energy in your life. What goal do you want to work at? What are some of the common mistakes that I've seen people at Maitnenance fall victim to? And I'm certainly one who has fallen victim to some of these, and I'll make sure I denote them when I listen. One, ignoring the scale completely. This happens to be one that I haven't fallen victim to, but I've seen other people say, well, now that I'm at goal, I don't have to weigh myself. And while I'm not calling you to be a scale slave in which you're weighing yourself each and every day and being hypochondriac regarding the slightest variation of weight, what I am asking is that you stay cognizant of when you do go over those 5 pounds over what your goal weight is. For me, that was how I got large in the first place, or obese in the first place, is that I made weight not an issue by ignoring it. Ignoring it is not going to make the issue go away, but maintaining a healthy relationship with the scale is certainly a good thing. Another one is allowing bad habits or bad eating habits to creep back into your diet. You're no longer in ketosis, so you're no longer seeing the appetite suppression of the diet. So certain things like eating when you're no longer hungry, simple emotional eating, something bad happens in your life and you're returning to food to seek solace. Or simply grazing because there's nothing else to do. You know, going to a party and there's food laying out and simply grazing over each and everything. And while you might be only grazing on legal things, however, too many of legal things is still not allowed. So obviously in the maintenance phase, one needs to be particularly vigilant in terms of cutting or nipping these bad eating habits in the bud when they start to show up. It's not that you can't do these things, it's just that you need to be cognizant that when you are doing these things that there will be repercussions, and you might need to up your exercise in response. The third is not sticking to your ACE, i.e. falling victim to carb creep. You know, if you say that your ACE level is 60 to 70 carbs per day, you know, eating consistently over that level is only going to lead to the weight returning. So it's a matter of knowing what your ACE is, and 1 or 2 days over your ACE level may not be a horrible thing. However, a consistent weeks or months over your ACE level is only going to be a recipe for the weight returning. So that happens to be one of the more common things that has happened. The fourth one is becoming unmotivated with your exercise. No longer do you have this goal that you're shooting for, this tangible weight loss goal that you're striving to hit. You're having to come up with something new, whether it be a push-up challenge or a run that you want to complete in such and such a time. It's easy to, without the weight loss goal, which was your ultimate driver in all the exercise before. So now that that's gone, there goes your motivation to do some of the exercise each and every day. So where somebody might have been exercising 5 to 6 times a week and very dedicated gym rat, now he may be only hitting the gym 2 times a week and thinking that's just as good. Well, you know what? That may indeed affect your ACE levels as well as allowing the weight to return. And fifth and finally, it's not a problem so much with the maintenance phase so much, but how you conducted the earlier phases of the diet. You thought perhaps that you never re-add this particular food group back into the diet. And weeks, months, years go by, and then on maintenance you've decided to add this particular food group back in, such as the alcohol phase, maybe the whole grain phase, maybe the starchy vegetable phase. And you add that back in on the maintenance phase, not having encountered that on inside the pre-maintenance or the ongoing weight loss phase, and suddenly your body has no way to react to this food but to send the weight up. Well, that concludes another episode of Atkins Low Carb. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope this video helps answer some of your questions that you might have had about maintaining the weight loss that you experienced during low carb. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section down below. Thank you. Bye.